So the film begins on a planet named Yacha, where every alien living there is also called a Yacha. And only one ability is looked for in them. Who is the most powerful and who can fight the best? The Yacha who has more fighting skills and powers is the one who is respected. Whereas weak Yachas are not even allowed to live here. As soon as it is discovered that a Yacha is weak, he is killed immediately. And we also meet one such Yacha, Dek, who, as soon as he enters his mountain home, his brother starts fighting him with his sword. Because he loves Dek very much and doesn't want anyone to kill Dek. That's why he wants to make Dek stronger. That's why he is making him practice fighting. The fight between the two of them continues for a long time, but Dek can't win a single fight. His brother tells him to practice more. So Dek says, "I don't think I need it. I am quite powerful, but Dad and you all can't see it. And I will prove myself. I will definitely hunt the most powerful thing in this entire universe and make my dad's name famous throughout the planet." His brother tells him that a monster named Cossack is the most powerful in the entire universe. It's completely impossible to kill or capture it. Will you bring it? Dek immediately accepts this challenge, even though his brother tells him that even our dad couldn't do this. During their conversation, Dek's dad also arrives, and his anger reaches its peak upon seeing Dek, and he tells his son to kill him immediately, that he is just a stain on my name. Dek tries to explain to him, "Dad, it's not like that. One day, I will bring you a very big hunt and make you proud." Dek's dad looks at him mockingly and says, "You?" His anger increases even more with Dek's words, and he ties Dek up with his laser ropes and again tells Dek's brother to kill Dek. Dek's brother had no other choice either. Obeying his dad, he picks up his laser sword, but instead of killing Dek, he breaks Dek's ropes. Dek also gets into his spaceship without wasting a second, and Dek's dad gets so angry at Dek's brother that he cuts off one of his hands. With his other hand, Dek's brother tried to help Dek again. With the spaceship remote in his hand, he launched Dek's spaceship towards the planet Gina, where Dek was supposed to find the Cossack monster. Meaning somewhere he also believed in his brother. Dek knew that Dad would do something very bad to his brother now, but he hadn't expected it to be this bad. In his anger at Dek, Dek's dad kills Dek's brother, and Dek is shattered. The scene cuts, and in the next scene, we are shown that Dek has reached the planet Gina. As soon as he enters the planet's atmosphere, the pressure increases so much that all the glass on his spaceship shatters, and to save himself, Dek gets into a capsule and crash lands in the jungles of Gina. Now, because Dek was a Yacha, he thought that was why he was very powerful. They always had various kinds of weapons to fight with, which Dek had hidden all over his clothes. But he hadn't expected that the planet Gina was far more dangerous than he had imagined, and that even the plants here were monsters. As soon as he enters the jungle, the plants attack him and take all the weapons from his suit. After which, the huge vines of these plants attack Dek. With his laser sword, Dek cuts these vines with great difficulty and keeps moving forward. On the way, many plants attack him. Some grab his leg, while others try to capture him completely. But after cutting all the vines, Dek finally manages to get out of this jungle. By this time, Dek was very badly injured. First, he sat down and dressed his wounds, and then he decided to move forward. Right now, he didn't even know which direction he had to go to catch Cossack. Moving forward, he also encounters many such flowers that open their mouths to harm him as soon as he gets close. Dek understood that he would have to take every step on this planet very carefully. Then, a few steps away, he sees a girl hanging in the trees, whose name was Thaya. Thaya calls Dek over and says, "You don't look like you're from around here. What have you come here to do?" Dek tells Thaya that he has come from the planet Yacha and is a Yacha, and I have come here to hunt the Cossack monster, so that I can prove on my Yacha planet that I am the most powerful. Thaya says, "I don't think you know yet how dangerous this planet is, and the jungle you are standing in right now is the most dangerous place on this planet. I don't think you'll be able to move forward or survive. If you want, I can help you, because I know this place very well. But Deck says, no, I don't need it at all, she says. Think about it. I also know the way to reach Callus. After hearing this, Deck agrees and picks up the girl, and then it is revealed that she was not a human but a synthetic, a combo of human and machine. Deck hangs her on his back and starts his journey. Thaya was just telling Deck her story, that she had been stuck here for the past 2 years, when suddenly a flying dragon attacks Deck, and he falls unconscious from the attack. Thaya uses her hands to drive the dragon away and then brings Deck back to consciousness. She says, now do you believe you can't go on without me? Deck had now hung fire on his back. As they walked, they now had to cross a river filled with bloodthirsty fish that would have eaten them. But Thaya knew how to mentally control all these fish, and because of this, they safely crossed the river. After crossing the river, they reached a slightly safer jungle for his convenience. Deck takes some vines and uses them to tie Thaya to himself, and after a long journey, they think about resting for the night. Thaya tells Deck about herself, explaining that humans sent them here from planet Earth to research this planet. They have also been given the mission to hunt the monster named Colossus. She explains that humans are very weak, and it was impossible for them to survive here, so humans created synthetics like us, meaning creatures like us were made through a combination of humans and machines. I came here with my sister Tiza, but as soon as we arrived, the Cossack monster attacked our spaceship. My legs were broken in that attack, and we sisters were separated. It has been 2 years since then, and I have been hanging there ever since. The scene cuts, and now we are also shown Thaya's sister Tiza, who was inside her spaceship at this time. She had repaired her spaceship to a great extent, and was currently sitting in one of its chambers, where many robotic hands were now repairing Tiza. And here we also find out that Tiza wanted to find Thaya immediately. She was very worried about her. Anyway, morning comes, and we see Deck and Thaya again, who were now heading towards Colossus's hideout, but on the way, they had to pass through fields. The plants there were very sharp, and inside these fields, there were also very large monsters. Thaya tells Deck that they must avoid these monsters because they are Cossack's guards, and when needed, Cossack also makes them as prey. They were just talking when a small creature appeared. Jumping around like a monkey, he says to Deck, if you want, I can help you cross this place. But Deck didn't want anyone else's help anymore. They were just talking when suddenly that big guard of Colossus came to attack them. Before he could swallow the 3 of them, Deck, just in time, slices the monster in 2 with his laser sword. Before they could escape from here, another monster with large tentacles grabs both of them in its tentacles and lifts them up. Before this creature could eat them, the baby creature from before saves them by cutting off the creature's tentacle. And in anger, this creature now catches the baby creature. And before it could eat him, Deck shows bravery again and with a big jump, breaks a tree where the creature had its tentacle stuck. The tree falls on the creature, and from the other side, Deck also jumps in and kills the creature by attacking its eye. And so, finally, the 3 of them are saved, and from here, they decide to travel together. On the other hand, we are shown Tiza, who had gone into the jungles to find her sister Thaya, and had reached the place where Deck had crash-landed. From this spaceship, she finds out all the information about it, that it has come from the Yacha planet, and that there is a Yacha here as well. Connecting the dots, she also understands that her sister is with that Yacha. The scene cuts, and we see the 3 of them again, who have now lit a fire to spend the night. Deck and the baby creature needed to eat something, so they both hunted for themselves. But Thaya explains that she is a synthetic, so she doesn't feel hungry. Then, Thaya questions Deck. So Deck explains that his dad was going to kill him, but he wanted to prove himself, and his brother helped him. He put him in a spaceship and launched it for planet Rena, but then he saw his dad kill his brother. And now, I want to catch that monster at any cost to avenge my brother and prove to my dad that my brother and I were not wrong. We see Teaser again, who was still inside Deck's spaceship. She sees Deck's weapons here and finds the best one to be the one that could turn anything into ice. She takes that weapon along with all the others with her. Morning comes, and we are shown that they have started their journey again. As they walked, they reached a place where everything was destroyed. Thaya explains that this used to be their base, which was destroyed by Cossack and his people. In this same base, Thaya also finds her legs, and she picks them up and goes inside the lab to reattach them. But here, she apologizes to Deck and says, "I just wanted to get to my legs. That's why I used you. I don't know about Cossack myself, nor can I help you reach him." Hearing this, Deck becomes furious, wondering how Thaya could betray him. Thaya warns him, "Cossack is extremely dangerous. I've seen everything that you can do, and you simply cannot defeat him. You must go back to your own planet." After hearing her words, Deck tells her, "You'll see. I will definitely show you the consequences of your betrayal." He had just gone outside after saying this when a huge creature appeared in front of him. In fact, this was the creature Cossack, whom they had come here for. Its mouth was so terrifying that as soon as it opened, it was as big as half of Deck's body. Before it could attack Deck, Deck attacks it with his laser sword, passing under it and slashing it open. But all of this had no effect or benefit. Cossack had the power to heal himself. Cossack had healed himself from all of Deck's attacks in less than a second. In a fit of anger, Deck severs its tail from its body and then quickly attacks its neck, separating its head from its body. But Cossack reattaches both its tail and its head to its body at the same time. He was immortal. He wasn't meant to die. In the end, when Deck tries to capture Cossack with a chain, Cossack overpowers him instead. He could have killed him then, but something very strange happened. He sniffed Deck and let him go. Deck was also surprised as to why Cossack had spared him. Teaser was also surprised how Cossack could spare Deck's life, even though he was in his clutches at that moment. She knew that Cossack would now come to attack them, so she uses the weapon brought from Deck's spaceship to turn them into ice. And just like that, she freezes and captures them both. After bringing them to the lab, she starts experimenting on Cossack as well as Deck so she can learn more about them. Because of this, she shoves her sister, Thaya, aside, and Thaya can't reassemble her body. Because of this, Thaya was now angry with Teaser, and Deck was already angry with Thaya. He says, "You betrayed me, and because of you, I'm trapped here today." The only one happy here was Teaser, who says, "Mom will be very happy when she finds out I've captured you both." She was calling the scientist who created Teaser and Thaya Mom. At this point, Thaya says to Teaser, "Our purpose for coming here was only to capture Cossack. Why did we capture Deck? Let's release him. He saved my life and he's the one who brought me here." Teaser wasn't paying any attention to Thaya, as she was completely engrossed in her work. After taking Deck's blood samples, Teaser leaves to test them. Here, Teaser's robot arrives to keep an eye on them, which Thaya engages in conversation and uses to free Deck. It is revealed that Teaser had already launched the spaceship to go to Earth, and had also informed Earth that she was bringing 2 aliens. But since Deck was now free, he opens the spaceship's door and jumps out of it. Deck immediately goes to his spaceship to get his weapons and to prepare the ship again so that he can now chase Teaser and get Cossack. But just then, Teaser finds out that Deck has escaped, so she decides to come back to capture him again. And this time, she tells her army of robots that if Deck makes any move, they should kill him, as they will still get a reward for bringing his dead body to Earth. Thaya, who was not at all on board with Teaser's plan and actually wanted to save Deck's life, starts working to stop the other synthetics and robots here. Her legs, which were currently separate from her body but still connected to her mind, also work for Thaya and kill many of their own synthetics and robots. Meanwhile, Thaya herself was fighting many robots. Finally, Thaya manages to reattach herself to her legs and make her body whole again. After which, she was now ready to fight her sister Tiza. But fighting Tiza was no longer easy because Tiza was inside a very large robot. This robot was very powerful and extremely large. Tiza was sitting inside it, controlling the robot. Here, it is shown that Dek found that baby creature again, who tells Dek that he is also a Calcic and the son of the big monster, and he too wants to find his mom. Dek joins forces with him and brings him to Tiza's spaceship. And before going inside the spaceship, he takes some dangerous plants from the jungle to make weapons for himself, and with these weapons, he kills several of Tiza's synthetic robots. Before he could kill everyone, Tiza appears in front of him, sitting in a large robot, and repeatedly tries to kill Dek with her large, chainsaw-like hand. Dek was trying every way to fight and escape from it, but he was failing. Meanwhile, we are shown Thaya who, wearing her sister's lens, opens the chamber where she had kept Calcic bound. She had freed this creature only to save Dek's life. Calcic, enraged from being imprisoned, comes out and strikes the robot with a single blow, and the robot is heavily damaged. And then, breaking the robot's upper chamber, he pulls out Tiza and swallows her too finally. They felt they had won this fight. They breathe a sigh of relief, and Dek brings Calcic's son to him. Calcic becomes extremely happy to meet him, and here it is revealed that he hadn't killed Dek because he could smell his son's scent on Dek's body, and he had been searching for his son for a long time. Dek affectionately strokes Calcic's face, and Calcic now meets Thaya as well. He greets her very lovingly too, and we learn that besides being very powerful, Calcic is also compassionate. Their reunion was underway when, all of a sudden, Calcic froze, and it was Tiza who did this. She was still alive inside Calcic's body and had Dek's weapon that could freeze everyone, and using it she froze Calcic. After that, Tiza breaks this ice monster and comes out of it, and upon emerging she attacks Dek. But just then, from behind, her own sister Thaya attacks her, weakening her. And then Dek launches the next attack on her, severing her head from her body and finally killing her. Dek had no more business here, since Calcic had already died, so he sets off for his planet, Yacha, taking Thaya and the little monster with him. And as soon as he goes before his dad still gets angry on seeing him and says, "Go away from here. Why do you even come here?" Hearing this, Dek says, "Today I've come to make you proud. Just see who I brought. I have hunted 2 aliens. Now you have to include me in the clan." Dek's dad didn't believe a word he said, so he sent 2 of his Yacha to kill Dek. But after all the hardships Dek had faced and the huge monsters he had fought, fighting these 2 Yacha was no big deal for him. He very easily fights both of them at the same time and defeats them both, but even then, his dad shows him no mercy and comes forward to fight him himself. A fire of anger and hatred fills Dek, and he now fights his dad, defeats him, and kills him too. Before this, his dad used to be the chief of their tribe, but since Dek had killed him as well and Dek's brother had already died, so Dek now became the chief, and everyone started respecting Dek for this very reason, because he had brought 2 aliens. Just then, we are shown that another alien ship was speeding toward their planet. Seeing it, everyone is confused about who is coming in it. So Dek tells everyone, "My mother is coming in it." Was Dek calling Calcic his mother? Or was he talking about someone else? With this mystery, this alien movie ends